They came back.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Brad.
I'm Rach.
The kids are in bed.
We have 3 kids under the age of 3, twins that are almost 3. And baby Eloise is a newly
Not a baby anymore.
Newly turned 1-year-old. Man, she still looks so much like a baby to me.
Well, she's not walking yet.
No,
so.
I think that helps.
Yeah, definitely. Which, it's crazy that she's not walking and she's getting closer to 15 months old.
No, she's not getting closer. She's barely 14 months old.
If you say so. But anyway, you're probably back from yesterday's episode, which talked about me getting promoted in the military.
Cheers.
Hey, cheers.
Congratulations.
Thank you, honey. Couldn't have done it without you.
Couldn't be more proud.
The harder part about being a military reservist is staying home with children.
He keeps saying that. That's
true.
just not true.
It's way easier to go into where I go for my drill rather than staying home with 3 children under the age of 3 years old.
I feel like any day that's difficult with the children is only more difficult if you're away from them.
What?
That was deep.
That was deep. And entirely not true. But anyway.
Sometimes.
So, I have 17 years of good service in the military.
I like how you say of good service because
Yes.
that's probably that's like the lingo, huh?
Yes.
What's bad service?
Well, you can have a year in the military that doesn't count towards...
So good service means it counts towards retirement.
Exactly. Because you can have a year that doesn't count towards retirement. If you just don't get enough hours or credits. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so it's something that you have to consider.
Interesting.
So my military career. Back in high school, I knew I wanted to be an eye doctor, an optometrist. But I also knew that I didn't want to pay for school. So my parents paid for my brother's undergrad education.
It's kind of funny that you said I didn't want to pay for school.
What?
No, it's just I knew I didn't want to pay for school.
Yes, exactly.
Or like you didn't know you knew you wouldn't have the means to pay.
Well, no. Actually, my
Or
parents...
that you wouldn't...
My parents would have paid for my undergrad education. But I didn't want to, like, put the stress... I didn't want to lean on my parents.
See, that's the better way to say it. I mean, that's the better story there.
Well, and that's the truth.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, so my parents paid for my brother's undergrad education. And I didn't want to have to rely on them to pay for my undergrad education.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, well, but the thing also is, I wanted to stay athletic, and I had a genuine desire to join the Army. I had...
For what?
Well, my best friend in high school, Kenny, his older brother joined the Army. His older brother as well, but the second one joined the Navy. And just like looking at their lifestyle and their trajectory, like I knew that the military was a really good outlet or a good way to get this done. Mm-hmm.
Both professionally and like being physically active.
Exactly. Yeah, because I wasn't a good enough athlete to compete in college. So it's like I wanted to stay athletic, but I couldn't, do it at college. So, I mean, the military just made perfect sense. So, I talked with the recruiter.
Like in high school?
Yeah.
You sought out the recruiter or they came to your school like on the military
No,
day?
I sought out the recruiter.
Okay.
And had to do the ASVAB test.
Did your parents know you were...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were completely 100% behind me. Because, I mean, they knew it was really good. For me, I mean, I have the personality and I had the skills and it just would have worked out perfect, which it did. So I took the ASVAB and, did great. Did well enough to get any job that I wanted to do. And I went up to, MEPS. So I went up to the MEPS station, which is where all the people who want to join the military go. And it's just like this big building. Your recruiter drives you up there at like 5:30 in the morning, drops you off. You have to do a physical. You have to do a bunch of questionnaires. You have to do a bunch of tests. And then once you pass all these tests, they sit you down and they like try to sign you to a contract. So I get in there And I'm like, well, I'm only interested. The Army has 256 at the time. The Army had 256 different jobs that you could sign up for. And I was only interested in one. And it was an optical laboratory specialist. I knew that I wanted to be an eye doctor. So I went in and I said, well, I want to be an optical laboratory specialist. And so he gets on his computer, another recruiter, gets on his computer, looks at him and thinks, it's like, well, the classes are all full. I don't think we can get you in. And so I'm like, all right. Well, before I could say anything, he's like, but a truck driver has a $20,000 signing bonus or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, that didn't appeal to me. So I'm like, well, no, like, I have this plan. I want to be an eye doctor, and so I'm only going to join the Army.
When did you decide you wanted to be an eye doctor?
When I was in like 8th grade, when I got my first pair of glasses.
Mm. So since then, you were like, I'm going to be an eye doctor however I need to be an eye doctor. Mm-hmm. And the military was a tool to get you there.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then I go out to the lobby. I call my dad. I'm like, well, they don't have any slots for an optical laboratory specialist, so I just said no, and like, I'll just come home. It's like, all right, sounds good. So then I'm like literally like sitting in the waiting area, waiting for my recruiter to come pick me up. And the guy who I just talked to comes back out. He's like, hey, I just sent an email to the class, and they're going to open a seat for you. Well, there you go. Well, I'm like, all right, let's do it. So then I go in and they open a seat for me and I sign my contract. And so I have a 6-year enlistment. And they're going to send me to optician school. Optician school, if you're going to like a junior college or whatever, it's a 2-year long, it's an associate's degree program. And so the Army sent me there. I mean, it wasn't the Army optician school as part of my contract. Mm-hmm. So I left for boot camp literally the day after high school graduation. I go to boot camp out in South Carolina. Hot as all get out. It was in Columbia, which is not far from where we ended up being stationed in the Navy.
No, I know. Ironic.
Yeah, exactly. So I go to boot camp there.
Fort Jackson?
Fort Jackson.
It's in Columbia?
It's in Columbia, just
okay.
outside of Columbia.
Okay.
Then I head up to Yorktown, Virginia, which is really a beautiful area. It's Williamsburg in Yorktown, Virginia, not far from Virginia Beach and Norfolk. And that's where I went and got my optician degree. And then my first duty station. So in optician school, I learned how to make glasses because, there's a bunch of labs that make glasses for the military. And so I learned how to make glasses. But my first duty station ended up being in Korea. So me and my classmate actually fly over to Korea together, and we land in Seoul, South Korea, which is the capital city of South Korea. Seoul is like New York. It's like a space needle, like in Seattle, population, between 10 and 20 million, huge. And so we get there, and he was an 05 at the time. So in the Army, an 05 is a lieutenant colonel. A lieutenant colonel comes. Okay, so we get to the airport and we go to the hotel and we spend the night. This 05 lieutenant colonel comes to the hotel. He's like, and it's me and my buddy. We both graduated optician school together. And he's like, well, I need one of you guys to stay here and be my technician in Seoul. And so both him and I knew it's like you could either go to a factory where you make glasses, or you could go to the optometry clinic where you work under the doctor. And obviously we both wanted to go to Seoul to work.
I don't know the story.
No, I don't think I've ever told you this. And so obviously we both knew that we wanted to go to Seoul and work in this optometry clinic and basically live in New York City. And so like we both said, okay, yeah, I want to do it. He flipped a coin. Yeah. And I won. I won.
Oh, you're kidding.
No. So I won, and I get
God is favoring you.
Yes.
Time and time again.
So I get to stay in Seoul and have...
He flipped a coin?
Yes. And I get to have him as my mentor. And this doctor was... So everybody in Korea, not everybody, but most all of the soldiers in Korea are without their family. So it was Dr. Glennask is his name.
I remember you speaking to him when we were in Vegas together. Remember he reached out to you, or you reached out to him? Do you remember that?
So Dr. Glennask had 2 kids and a wife. They were left in Colorado without him. So he was there single. He would go home every quarter, spend the week at home. But anyway, basically, he was my mentor. He took me under his wing. Not only would he teach me about optometry, but living in the city of Seoul, their underground railroad system, subway system was so clean and safe that we would literally on Saturday morning get in the subway and just get lost. And he would have this note card in his pocket that had common Korean phrases. And so we would just get out and we would use this note card to make our way to restaurants and shops and stuff and just kind of get around. He was my role model for going forward. Yeah, so pretty awesome. So anyway, after that, then I did my remaining time in Yorktown, where I went to school making glasses, made over 1 million pair of glasses in a couple of years.
You did?
Yeah.
Over 1 million?
Yes, while I was there. And then
you brush across that. Everyone else is
well, the factory itself made 1 million pair of glasses. My crew at that point, I was an 05. I was a sergeant, in charge of some of the night crew, and so yeah, we did over 1 million glasses while I was there. But so I got out, and I went to the University of Illinois for free. I used the GI Bill. So the state of Illinois right now, politically, is horrible. But they have this really awesome program that if you're a veteran, you get free in-state tuition. University of Illinois, one of the best colleges in all of America. And so I just picked them because they're the best state school, and I got free education. So I got my undergrad in Illinois and then got accepted into optometry school in St. Louis, which is where I met Rachel. So that's where the story really begins.
Oh, stop.
But anyway, so once I got accepted into optometry school, so I've been, by this time, by getting accepted into optometry school, by this time, I have been out of the Army for 3 years, absolutely no connection, no affiliation, no nothing with the Army anymore. I had fulfilled my contract, done. So then when I got accepted into optometry school, I could have, applied for an Army scholarship, a Navy scholarship, an Air Force scholarship. But the Navy had 4-year optometry scholarships available, so I applied. And
how did you know that? Where did you look to find that? Because that would be where I would not.
I reached out to I reached out to a Navy medical recruiter.
Okay.
So
a Navy medical recruiter. So
right.
Somebody within your profession that's a recruiter for your
branch.
Yeah. Okay.
So they know.
What's
available.
So you just emailed them? Or called them?
Yeah.
Or?
No. Yeah, I emailed them. Yeah.
And they said this scholarship's available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you filled out paperwork, or?
Yeah, it was a long process. Filled out paperwork, had to do a security clearance. It was a lot.
They had to do a background check.
Mm-hmm.
My dad actually.
I wrote an essay, filled out an application, all that good stuff, and luckily I was awarded the scholarship.
My dad in our
wedding,
in his speech at our wedding, he was talking about how Brad won the scholarship and that it saved him a lot of money because they already did a background check on him, which was so funny.
Which during the background check, actually,
I forgot about this.
Yeah, I got a second look at because I had an open alcohol, like an open
Container.
Yeah, open container ticket back in Illinois when I was 21 years old. I was home on leave, like from the Navy. I can't remember if I was stationed in Korea or Virginia.
From the Army, you mean?
Yeah, from the Army. I can't remember if I was stationed in Korea or Virginia at the time, but came home to Polo and had an open container.
In a car.
Yeah.
And it got pulled over, and then you got
I was sitting in the back seat. Yeah, I got a ticket.
Oh, shoot. And then you had that on your background check.
Exactly.
But that was the only thing.
Yeah, so
They didn't.
Yeah, I just explained what happened, and it was no big deal. But anyway, so going forward, gosh, we're really long.
It's okay. It's okay.
So I was awarded the 4-year, all expenses paid scholarship to optometry school. Not only was all the tuition paid, but books and equipment was paid, and I got a monthly stipend to live on. So it was a heck of a deal.
Let me just put in comparison. He was out of state for optometry school. We went to the same optometry school. That's where we met, fell in love. I was in state, and I paid my own living. And so just for equipment and tuition and books, it was almost $200,000. So for somebody to be out of state and to have tuition, books, monthly living stipend, and equipment paid for, was more than $250,000.
Well, when I tell people, I say it was a $300,000 deal.
Scholarship. Yeah, that's a big deal, especially for two people that are becoming a couple that would have both had the student debt together.
Yeah, we would have.
That would have been
$500,000 in debt.
And we have classmates that met in optometry school, graduated together, and got married, and potentially had double the amount of debt that, like, we graduated with. That was solely mine. So that's like totally a side note, but optometry, if you are going to go completely on loans, is becoming like not a good return on investment because it's so expensive to go to optometry school. Anyway, please do go on.
So
this was a huge scholarship.
Yeah, so it was awesome. Got the 4 years.
You deserved it.
4 years paid for. And so I owed the Navy 4 years of active duty. Actually, just 4 years, period. Like, it didn't matter. Yeah, you had to do 4 years active duty, and then you could have got out if you wanted. But for me, having been active duty Army before I went into the Navy, it was a no-brainer to go ahead and just go to the reserves. And so now I have 17 years in the military.
We did not even know, though, that
my school was going to count.
Yeah. So we made that decision thinking that you had 6 years active duty and 4 years active duty. We made the decision together for you to go reserves based on the fact that you had 10 years in and that you only had 10 more years to retire. Turns out the 4 years that he was in undergrad, and this was kind of up in the air for, it seemed like a few years. You alluded to it a few times. You were like, I don't know, it might count. The time that I was in optometry school on the Navy scholarship, that might count towards my retirement. I don't know. That came up a few times, and then now it's definitely yes.
Yeah, so it goes back to like having a good year. And it just so happens, like, between my first and second year of optometry school, I went to officer development school out in Rhode Island. And so that just gave me enough points to be a good year. And then it just, like, I was just awarded a good year from, like, also the second, third, and fourth year.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, so that makes a big difference on the timing of you being able to retire. If you retire.
So what that means, like for us, family-wise, is that we're eligible for TRICARE medical insurance, which our deductible is just Well, our monthly payment is just a little bit over $200 a month for a family of 5
people.
And our deductible is $300 a year or something.
It's just the healthcare benefits are huge. So if you know anybody who's like on the fence about maybe doing the military thing, just in this day and age, just the healthcare benefits, that was almost the only consideration that we had when we decided for you to stay in is the healthcare benefits.
Yeah, because we didn't know for sure about the retirement, so.
Right, exactly. We had no idea. And then the 1 weekend a month payment, or like the reimbursement you get for going 1 weekend a month, is negligible. But the amount that we save in healthcare is huge.
Exactly. So there you have it.
In a nutshell.
The thing is, though, like if you're going to join the military, have a plan.
That's like the point of this whole video.
And stick with it. Like if you have a plan and you stick with it, it is 1000% worth it.
If you don't stick with it, do you think it's still worth it? Or if you don't have a plan and you just decide to go to the military?
If you don't know what the heck you want to do with your life, then absolutely. It's really great experience. 100%. And that's another thing about being stationed in Korea. Every male has to do 2 years of military service.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why just males?
I don't know. That's just how it is. But I think it sets them up for success for the rest of their life. Really, you're just setting yourself up for success. So, but if you do the military, have a plan.
Yeah.
Stick to it.
Yep.
It's going to work out for you.
If you have a plan going into it, stick to it. Is I think what. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like this. We meant for this to be a promotional video for the military, but. And I feel like a lot of our viewers are not even from the United States, but it can't be that different from country to country in your own military. And you have
let us know if it is.
You have a very cool story. I love your story. I didn't even know about the coin flip thing. That was really, really cool. But I do love hearing your military story, and we, as a family, are all grateful for you.
Well, I'm grateful for you guys.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, hit that subscribe button. We got lots of fun topics.
Fun stuff coming.
For the rest of December. It's Vlogmas.
It's Vlogmas, everybody.
So we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.